The Driver series has been a long-time favorite of mine since the very first game in the series, and honestly, despite not all of them being successful, I've yet to find a game in the series that I don't like. In this video, I won't be covering the two handheld Driver games. Instead, I'll be focusing only on the home console releases. The Driver series got its start in 1999 for the original PlayStation. Reflections Interactive, who worked on previous racing titles like Destruction Derby, developed the game. They wanted to create something that wasn't quite a racing game but more an action driving game. The game was heavily influenced by car chase movies from the 60s and 70s, and you can instantly get the idea of where they were going with it. You play the role of Tanner, an undercover NYPD officer with a history of being incredibly skilled behind the wheel. Your objective is to complete tasks given to you by criminal kingpins to gain their trust and get in close to their operations. The game takes place over the course of 4 cities, including Miami, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and New York. Each city is a complete open world and can be explored freely, though geographically they're very loosely based on their real-life counterparts. Along the way, you'll take control of various vehicles from the 1970s and earlier as you help your newfound criminal buddies rob banks, pick up weapons, and run from the police. Driver looked really good for the time, and the damage physics were really impressive. The ability to be able to evade police, explore open worlds, and crash up your vehicle pushed the limits of the hardware, and because of this, there are some times of slowdown. Along with the game's career mode known as Undercover, there are other game modes such as a checkpoint race mode, a pursuit mode, and a free roam. Another great feature is the replay system, giving you complete control of creating a movie-quality production of your chaotic drive. Driver was a very successful release. In fact, to this day it's the best-selling game in the series. Driver 2 was released in late 2000, and due to its large size it was released on 2 discs. This was due to the game's length as well as the amount of cutscenes featured in the game. Whereas the first game featured only driving gameplay, Driver 2 featured the ability to leave your vehicle and venture off on foot. Though there is very little interaction while on foot, it's still very cool to be able to steal just about any vehicle you see. The game once again features 4 cities, this time Chicago, Havana, Las Vegas, and Rio. And this time around these levels are a lot larger than before. The missions are much of the same, and even with the ability to go on foot, almost all of the action will still take place behind the wheel. You'll find yourself trailing suspects, running from enemies, and destroying vehicles, Destruction Derby style. The survival mode from the first game returns here, and for those of you that feel like tackling this minigame, all I can say is good luck. All of the vehicles in the game are still based on the 1970s and earlier. Hidden vehicles can be located throughout the levels. Even with the additions here, there wasn't enough done to Driver 2 to gather as much success as its predecessor, and as a result, the game was heavily criticized. In June of 2004, Driver 3 was released on the PS2 and Xbox after over 3 years of development. The game was designed to compete with the likes of Grand Theft Auto, becoming similar in gameplay. Not only can a player exit a vehicle, but you can also have the ability to use weapons, jump, and swim, leading to a lot more variety in not only the missions, but the overall game in general. The game also features an all-star cast of voice actors, including Michael Madsen, Ving Rhames, and Mickey Rourke. There are 3 cities to explore this time, with over 35,000 buildings and 150 miles of roads to navigate. Each level can be played during the day, night, dawn, and dusk and are quite large and detailed. There are over 70 vehicles throughout the game, including cars, trucks, motorcycles, and boats. Visually, the game had come a long way since its days on the original PlayStation, with vehicles featuring an expanded damage system and levels that feature impressive lighting and shading details. The game suffers from some serious issues though, like the AI not being so and moments of massive slowdown. Even with these additions as well as the new combat system, the game received mixed reviews from critics. Some people praised the game while others felt it was disappointing. In 2006, a new Driver game hit the PS2 and Xbox entitled Driver Parallel Lines. Versions for the Wii and Windows would release the following year. This was the first game in the series that did not feature John Tanner, instead focusing on a new character by the name of TK. This was also the first game in the series to feature only one level. The entire game takes place in New York City, and while it may seem lacking at first, this one level is actually larger than all 3 of the last game's levels combined. Another unique aspect of the game is the fact that it takes place in 2 different time periods. TK starts out as a getaway driver in New York City in 1978. After being set up and spending a few decades in prison, TK gets released in 2006. Eventually, you'll be able to jump back and forth between the 2 eras, which each feature unique looks and variances throughout the city. For some reason, they took away boats and the ability to swim. And while the game still features weapons and out-of-car action, they wanted to return the series to its roots of driving, and because of this, there are more in-car missions. While not a blockbuster by any means, Parallel Lines was still praised for certain aspects and fared a lot better than Driver 3 did. After many years of speculation about a new Driver game, the series returned in 2011 with Driver San Francisco. The game was released for PS3, Xbox 360, Wii, Windows, and Mac. As the title implies, the game takes place in the San Francisco Bay Area. The ability to step out of your vehicle, a feature we'd seen since Driver 2, has now been abandoned, instead returning the game to its roots. Sort of. Tanner has the ability to teleport into different cars without interrupting the action. The ability is called Shift, but it's not featured on the Wii version. For the first time in the series, licensed cars are present, and not just a few of them, but 140 to be exact. Cars from the past and present are included from manufacturers including GM, Ford, Dodge, Bentley, Lamborghini, and more. Each vehicle includes an in-car cockpit view, which is perfectly replicated to its real-life counterpart. Along with the typical driver-style missions, you'll come across races and stunt modes as well. It's also important to note that the Wii release has a completely different storyline than the other versions. This is the first game in the series to not only feature split-screen multiplayer, but online play as well. Visually, it's great. The city features a lot of detail and the cars look absolutely incredible and feature realistic damage physics. The game received some good review numbers and even won a few awards. As for now, there's no talk of a new game in the series, but it's definitely something I'd welcome. These games hold a special place in my heart, specifically the first and third games in the series. I played those religiously. Once again, thanks for watching and stay tuned, we're getting real close to episode 100.